So, for the past year or so, I've been off and on talking with people about the idea that the next Smash game will probably be a reboot of some kind. Um, Especially since there's a good chance Sakurai might actually be leaving the Smash Bros. Team after this. So, while I've been doing some thinking about what the next Smash game might look like, and I would enjoy something that doesn't occupy the same space as Melee or Ultimate, I'm not going to get into that today. Today, I'm going to focus on my own thoughts about the roster. Obviously, most of these characters are not going to stay in the next game. Ultimate's roster is huge, and Sakurai himself said that this was a near impossible task to get this all-star crew together. Um, so that's why I've divided this up into categories. To sort of help organize my thoughts on this. Mainstay are characters that I think are basically guaranteed. Um, for example, where is he? You got Okay. For example, you got your Mario. Mario is a mainstay. They're never removing Mario. Um, Legacy, I'm treating as older characters that represent some part of Nintendo's history. Uh, with modern coming being characters from newer games. Now, I think there's an argument that can be made one way or another, but the way I'm going to separate this is that legacy characters will be NES through GameCube, while modern will be Wii and onward. That's how I'm personally going to look at this. I think GameCube could be argued. Um, for an example of each of these, you've got Inkling for modern, and a good example of a legacy character that I personally wouldn't put into mainstay is let's go Little Mac. Marketing, you could jokingly call the Fire Emblem category. These are characters that I think were only added for marketing reasons, and I don't think Nintendo will care enough to bring back. I'm gonna put Corrin as my example here because everyone has heard about how much of a shit show Fate was. So I don't think that Nintendo would want to take any risks giving too much content to Fates. Fluff are characters that I think Nintendo won't view as all that important, and and might feel like nobody will really notice or get too bothered if they're skipped out on. Um, an example I'll give for Fluff is Daisy. Nintendo doesn't really seem to care too much about Daisy, and while being an Echo, she could probably return in that capacity. I don't think. Actually, yeah. Uh, I don't think Nintendo will bother enough for her. And third party, I'm going to separate out and talk about at the end. Um, with the exception of Mainstay, I'm also going to be very loosely ordering these based on general likelihood. And when I say general likelihood, I mean I'm taking a gut feeling here. Really, the point of this is personal organization and more where do I think they fall. Um, and frankly, I have them ordered this way because I think the top to down likelihood can be looked at a little bit more objectively than left to right. So let's go through here based on what I can see on screen. First, I'll just load on all of the definite mainstays. We have Bowser. I think you could argue Donkey Kong, even though he doesn't really had much of a presence lately. Donkey Kong and Super Mario Bros. Those were the two games that kind of put Nintendo on the map, as far as I can tell. Ganondorf is pretty likely. There's Link. I think Ganondorf is less likely than Link, but people will probably give Nintendo weird looks if the two of them aren't placed together. Similarly to, I think Luigi and Peach would probably, like, these four definite Mario reps. Where is my Zelda? There she is. These four will stick together, these three will stick together. We'll also put Kirby here in mainstay. Pikachu will go up here. Mild spoilers, Pikachu is the only Pokemon that I feel comfortable putting in mainstay. Like, a good argument could be made for Mewtwo or Pokemon Trainer. Well, that's neat. I personally am not going to try and make that. If I had made this a year ago, I would have put Samus in Legacy, but with Dread coming out soon, I think we can count on Samus and Ridley showing up. Oh, I almost forgot. I'm going to keep Kirby, Meta Knight, and where did he go? DDD together. Taking a brief look, I think these are the only ones that... Oh, and Marth. People will complain about it, but I think Marth... Fire Emblem is too... Fire Emblem isn't as big as Nintendo says it, or as Smash Bros. Would lead someone to believe, but I think that Fire Emblem has a pretty good chance, or at least Marth has a pretty good chance as a mainstay. He just has... Fire Emblem is something Nintendo has had for a long time, and I think that they will probably want to keep close. The only other character looking at this list that I would put in mainstay is Animal Crossing. Now, I'm not sure if both of them are mainstay, but Animal Crossing has kind of blown up. So, I think this is our guaranteed list. And the only one whose franchise, or the only, like... And Donkey Kong I'm leaving up here solo because I'm not entirely sure how likely the other two are. So let's talk about them real quick. Diddy, there he is, K. Rool. So Donkey Kong is pretty important to Nintendo history. Donkey Kong Country, I'm not as sure. Diddy is pretty likely. Diddy I could almost put in mainstay. Mainstay is a disorganized mess. I'll fix mainstay up a little bit so that it's organized properly. This is okay. This is a little bit better. Um, yeah. This is the rough order, I think, in terms of likelihood, clustered by series for mainstay. Fire Emblem and Metroid are the ones I'm not too sure about, and Kirby, I think you could make the argument if Sakurai isn't at the helm, but this top row, they're sticking. As far as I can tell, they're sticking. Back to Donkey Kong Country. So, Donkey Kong Country has a pretty big, if not kind of quiet fan base. And Country is pretty well loved. It's a pretty nostalgic series. But I don't know if. But I won't. I don't feel like they have as much staying power as Donkey Kong himself. Diddy, I think you could make the argument might be kept anyways, just because him and Donkey Kong are a pair. But considering that K rule, that Nintendo hesitates a lot with using K rule in anything, possibly because of what happened with Rare. I'm not nearly as sure about. That's why I separated them. Uh, Little Mac Punch Out, I'm gonna use as sort of my benchmark. Punch Out, it has a good fan base. Its speedrun community is weird as hell. Um, but Little Mac himself, eh. Uh, what other legacies can we talk about here? So Dr. Mario, I think, no, I think Dr. Mario is probably fluff. Um, the reason why I think Dr. Mario is fluff is because I don't think anyone who plays Smash at a casual level. Let me rephrase that. I don't think Dr. Mario, the game, is terribly important to Nintendo's history. No one really talks about it. The mobile version, or the mobile Dr. Mario, kind of didn't garner very much attention. Just sort of a no one cares situation. In Smash, Dr. Mario is kind of a cool character to watch because you get this kind of time capsule of Mario if he never got modernized. And I could see Dr. Mario continue to be used for that if he was brought in, but yeah, I don't think he's fluff. As far as I can tell, he's fluff. Um, Duck Hunt, Duck Hunt, I think, yeah, I'll put him above Little Mac. Duck Hunt, he's got some stuff going for him. Firstly, Duck Hunt, very recognizable character. Like, I doubt there's anyone who wouldn't recognize this fucking dog. Although I'm sure there's a generation of people who only recognize him from Smash, where he's still kind of annoying. In regards to NES games, this dog, I'm sure, was the source of unending fury for a lot of people. Uh, and like something, he also sort of exists to represent the NES Zapper as a whole, and the Zapper was kind of a cool toy. Um, that's why I think Rob has pretty good chances for Legacy for similar reason. Rob is the NES in the same way that Mr. Game & Watch is, well, the Game & Watch. I think these two are the most important to Legacy that aren't mainstay, looking at my list here. Uh, because these two represent entire generations of Nintendo's history in one way or another. Um, just behind, let's say Diddy Kong, I'll put Ness. Ness, Earthbound is a series that is beloved to a lot of people. Um, for Ness, and to a lesser extent Lucas would probably be on par with Ness if Mother 3 was ever localized, but Ness, Earthbound sort of invented a subgenre. Um, Without Earthbound, I think you would lose out on a lot of very popular indie RPGs we have these days, such as, off the top of my head, Lisa Amori. You might be able to argue off. I don't think I would, but you might be able to argue it. Citizens of Earth pulls very heavily from Earthbound's sense of humor. Earthbound really invented a subgenre. My reason for putting him behind Diddy Kong is because Diddy Kong still has that potential to piggyback off of Donkey Kong. And that is worth noting. So next up are the space animals. Um, I don't think Fox. I think I don't think Fox. I don't think Star Fox. That's how I should say it. Is in that great of a position these days. Um, Frankly, the last Star Fox, from what I can tell from the community, has more bad games than good. And with that, because I think a lot of people would tell you that Star Fox 64 is the Star Fox game. Some people might argue that Star Fox 2 and Assault are also up there too, but considering that 64 is the only real big one, if Fox gets added, it will be as a fan favorite for how he is and has been in Smash. Um, Wolf. Wolf, I can see be brought in sort of because of his rivalry with Fox and because he allows the Star Fox archetype to do some interesting things. But ultimately, I think I'm going to put the other two space animals under Fluff for now. I might change my mind later, but I'm going to put the other two space animals under Fluff for now and say Star Fox as a legacy series has decent chances, especially with fan favorite status, but it's not a very well received series in recent years. And I'm not really going to get into all the reasons why at the moment. Because that is a whole ass video I am not qualified to make. Other legacy characters. Yoshi I'd put pretty high. Probably just past Diddy Kong. I think he barely doesn't have what it takes to make a mainstay. Because the thing about Yoshi is he was big with a couple of his own games, especially two very popular ones when Smash 64 came out. With this hypothetical reboot, we have Woolly and Crafted World, which are pretty good, but I don't think they were as well received, relatively speaking, as Story and Island were. But I think that after these two, maybe even before them, but I'm gonna put them after for right now. He's yeah, I'm gonna say right here, he barely doesn't have what it takes to make mainstay, but I wouldn't be surprised if he's added. Um, so, okay, now let's talk Pokemon. Um, so Mewtwo, he's pretty good. He's in a good spot. I'm gonna put him right next to Duck Hunt. Mewtwo has a lot of power. Has a lot going for him. He's got a lot of staying power. Um, and he's slotted in as in the Pokemon villain slot, even though whether or not he actually is can be argued. Um, however, like I said, Pikachu is the only one that I think really goes into mainstay. And while Mewtwo does have a lot going for him, and Pokemon is huge, I don't know. I don't really feel it from him. Now, compare and contrast Pokemon Trainer. And yeah, I'd put him right up here with, Beep and Boop. Half because he is Kanto the character, and go ahead, ask any Pokemon fan how much they think Nintendo likes Kanto right now. Um, he's far more likely than Mewtwo. I th- I think that uh actually no, nah. I'm gonna change my mind. He's probably a mainstay because he is the Pokemon trainer. He is the player character for all intents and purposes. Uh, remember, kids, opinions can change that fast. Jigglypuff is fluff. Um, in 64 and Brawl, she was added largely out of convenience, from what I can tell. So yeah, she's fluff. Um, I'm gonna actually real quick switch up my categories because this one is bloating real quick. I'm gonna say the reason why I'm changing that is Olimar, and I'll talk to him in a moment. Pichu is also fluff. Pichu was added as a joke character, and the demon rat can fucking burn as far as I can tell. I have had very bad times fighting against Pichus. I might be biased on this one. Similarly, Young Link. Young Link would be a good legacy character, but he doesn't have as much unique stuff to offer compared to Toon Link without leaning really hard on Majora's Mask. And I appreciate that Sakurai did not want to do that. Um let's see. Sheik. I'm gonna put Sheik in here. Sheik. I'm gonna put Sheik behind. Gonna put Sheik pretty far forward. I'd say here. I don't necessarily say Sheik is mainstay because the Triforce, but Sheik has good chances. Especially since if we count this Zelda as being a generic Zelda, and Sheik as being specifically an Ocarina of Time character, that makes 4 unique entities for Zelda, which very awkwardly sounds like a lot. You'd think Zelda would have more. Not getting into that right now, but Sheik has good chances because Zelda is a big property. It's one of Nintendo's big 3. Um, Alright, for other legacy characters, Plant is fluff. I think Plant was added mostly as a joke. Ices. Ices. I'm actually gonna put you behind K. Rool. You do a good job as a retro rep, but I'm not sure how special you are. Even though I know Sakurai had good reasons for it, one could be forgiven for thinking that Ice Climbers was chosen arbitrarily. Um, may they could you could argue that they could be above K. Rool or even Lucas, but I'm gonna put them back here because I don't think Ice Climbers has a lot of legacy behind it compared to the other NES reps we have going for us. Um, and Wario. Wario, I'm gonna put just ahead of Yoshi. WarioWare is big. I don't think it's that big, but WarioWare is big, and he's got a lot of the same things as Yoshi as far as barely not mainstay is concerned. And then, uh, I'm glad I separated these because that is a lot in just Legacy. Let's talk Kid Icarus. I am going to put Pit and Palutena in Modern and not Legacy. Because Pit and Palutena, as they are in Smash right now, is Uprising. Very blatantly Uprising. And while you could very easily make the argument that they should be Legacy, I want to say that Uprising reinvented the series. If someone if someone doesn't know that Kid Icarus Uprising wasn't the first game, I don't think they would actually be missing out on a lot. Now, the first two Kid Icarus games are interesting to play and look at. They've got some history behind them. Development history in general is kind of weird and very crunchy, for lack of a better word, but yeah, I'm gonna put them here. Uprising is a modern game, and they represent Uprising more than the other two, so I'm counting them as modern, and I'm putting them right behind Inkling. Um, Inkling is sort of the modern equivalent to Yoshi as far as barely not mainstay as is. Other modern, I would put Olimar right above Pit or Palutena. Pikmin Pikmin has a good fan base. It's got a solid fan base. And it seems like Pikmin 3 Deluxe is doing pretty good for itself. I can see them wanting Pikmin to stick around as part of Nintendo's ongoing rotation of games. Oh, I almost forgot Pichu. He's Fluff. I'm gonna reorganize Fluff after I'm done with the bulk, so don't worry about that for right now. Um, Similarly, Dark Samus, I actually don't think she's Fluff. I would actually put her I'd put her right here. Prime is a modern game. I don't think she's mainstay. I don't think she has that much power. It has that much power. But I would like to see Samus be 2D Metroid and Dark Samus be 3D Metroid as far as what they represent, and for Dark Samus to at least have their assist trophy moves from 4 back. That was a weird design choice not giving it those, but I'm not getting into that right now. Um oh, there's a mainstay I forgot. I genuinely believe the Miis aren't going anywhere. Um, I don't think their order really matters. I'm just gonna put them like that so that the two without transparency are semi-quarantined. Uh, okay, now let's talk Pokemon. Greninja's got good chances. Um, I'd put Greninja right here. Greninja's a fan favorite. Incineroar, he's good, but I would put him after Palutena. Because mostly because he's such a new character that's kind of hard to tell that he doesn't have legacy yet, and it's hard to tell. Lucario is a shoo-in. Um, if Lucario and Inkling are the modern equivalent of Yoshi and Wario, as far as barely not mainstay, and then Corrin's pretty good. Why did I say Corrin? Robin's pretty good. I would put Robin above Pit. Um, Robin is unique in that he's a Fire Emblem character that actually feels like a Fire Emblem character. So I think for that alone, he's got good chances. Similarly, Ike, I would put over here. Ike is very unique, and the Radiant games are beloved by the fan base. Um, but I don't think he has quite as much going for him as Robin does. And Toon Link, I'm going to put him at the bottom of Modern. I don't think he's fluff, but I don't think, without a redesign, I don't think he has quite enough going for him. But he's not fluff like Young Link, as far as I'm concerned. And Min Min. Min Min is not well liked by the Smash community. Arms is not well liked and did not sell well, but I would put her above Incineroar and Toon Link anyways. Um, because I feel like Arms does have a place. And Wii Fit Trainer, I'm going to put at the top of Modern because the Wii Fit games are very important pieces of Nintendo history. She represents the Wii in kind of the same way Rob represents the NES. Not the same way Game & Watch represents Game & Watch, but she's up there. I'm actually going to have her position reflect Rob in Game & Watch. I don't think I would quite consider her mainstay, but she represents the Wii and sort of how it was to a casual audience. And also Wii Fit, that was one of Nintendo's best-selling games in their entire history, if you can call it a game. Look that up. It's insane the units that thing pulled. Holy shit. Anywho, um now let's go. Oh yeah, and Bowser Jr. He's not fluff, and even though he's actually the Koopalings hiding behind Bowser Jr., I'm not putting him in Legacy. I would put him here. He's good. He's got a lot going for him. I'd like him to have a different Final Smash, but he's good. And then now for the rest of the Nintendo characters I've sort of been neglecting. Oh, so Shulk. Shulk. I feel like he's not really a third party. I'm not 100% sure what the relationship between Nintendo and Monolith is off the top of my head, but he seems to be accepted as a first party character. And Xenoblade has a lot of history, it has a lot of legacy. I'd say Shulk is the divider between this group and these five, or between these five, and everyone else. He's good. Byleth is marketing. Oh, Rosalina. I'd put her here. I would be surprised if she didn't come back, but I don't have as much confidence in her as I have for the three on the left of her. And Zero Suit Samus, this might be a hot take, but I think she's fluff. And like I said, I'm going to reorganize fluff in a hot second here. Finally, let's go... Alright. Now, the Fire Emblems. So, the Fire Emblems. I'm sure there's probably another character that was added mostly for marketing reasons. You could argue Min Min. I personally won't because I don't know if that's true. But you could argue Min Min. But I think that Fire Emblems sort of representation inflation, mostly caused by the fact that they were marketing schemes a lot of the time. So, these ones, which has caused this set right here to represent a lot of anger the Smash community has towards Fire Emblem. And three of these are at least partially clones of Marth and moveset. Now, the four Marth clones all play very differently from each other. I'm not getting into that debate right now, but these guys are very questionable. And I'm putting them in marketing because I genuinely don't know, due to how they were added in. Now let's organize them by likelihood. Corrin is at the bottom. Full stop. I'd say this. Lucina could easily have a unique moveset with a little bit of work put into her, but even without that, she offers this very much needed sweet spot between Marth and Roy moveset-wise. And if Awakening was going to have a second rep, I think she matters more in the long run than Chrom does. Even though I've heard Chrom had more fan requests than she did. Actually, I'm going to put Byleth ahead of her. Half because Byleth has a very unique gameplay style, and half because, holy shit, did Three Houses do well. I'm also going to put the swords in here because I personally don't feel like... So, I feel like they more exist to help out Xenoblade 2 than... That's probably a horrible way to phrase it, but I don't think... Like, I know Sakurai liked Xenoblade 2, but I think that they weren't added with the same mindset Shulk was, if that makes sense. I think they're about here. Now for the final awkward character from Nintendo, and that is someone I'm going to put in third party for the moment just to isolate him. Captain Falcon. F-Zero is in a bad place. Captain Falcon is in a great place. I have no fucking clue which of these is a more powerful factor than the other one? So I'm going to sort of put him right about here in Legacy, because I genuinely forgot about him for a second. I have no clue with him, to be perfectly honest with you. Now, actually, you know what? I'm gonna redefine something again. No, yeah. I'm gonna make. I'm not gonna make it a visual note, but I'm gonna take a note that Captain Falcon and Fox. These are two characters whose series is in a bad place, but they're pretty well beloved, and I think that's worth noting. Uh, Now let's reorganize fluff based on general likelihood. These are all characters that I think are not important to Smash as a celebration of history. But beyond that, they got some stuff going for them. Except Piranha Plant. Piranha Plant, he's neat. He's a fun experiment. I think he probably has about the same amount of staying power as Corrin, but for very different reasons. Now, out of all the fluff characters, I think Zero Suit Samus is the most likely for the additional Metroid representation, and because it's Samus. After that, we're looking at Falco and Jigglypuff for largely the same reasons why I think Fox and Falcon are probably more likely than they're represented as. Afterwards, I'd say Dark Pit, because Uprising, and he's pretty easy to make. Let's see. Wolf beyond that, because he makes a good rival, and the rest I think is about right. Now let's talk about the third parties. They're in a weird position where none of these can be guaranteed. I think the only one that can be that has any amount of guarantee to them is Sonic. I think Sonic is a mainstay, and Sega is pretty cool about that. Sega has a history of being really cool about how Sonic is used in media that isn't under their direct control. I mean, heck, compare how Sega views fan games to how Nintendo views fan games. There's a reason why you hear so much about Sonic fan games. It's because Sega loves that shit. After that, now with Sega being pretty cool about things, I'd say Bayonetta is still pretty likely, especially since Bayonetta may as well be a first-party character at that point, in the same way Shulk is. She's effectively a Nintendo character. Next up, let's talk about... I'm gonna shelf Joker for a moment. And let's talk about Capcom. Now, if Capcom... Assuming nothing major changes, I think Capcom is the next coolest as far as, like, what they're willing to do. I think they're pretty happy with these three. And I'm going to put Joker after them. Because I'm not sure because Sega is cool with it. Persona, and maybe Shin Megami Tensei as a whole, I'm not sure what its place in Smash Bros. Is as a whole. And Joker, next to the mainstays, looks a little weird. Sonic does not. For that reason, I'm actually going to put Bayonetta behind Ryu, but above Ken. These, Sonic, Mega Man, and Ryu, look natural next to the mainstays. Bayonetta, Joker, and to a lesser extent, Ken do not. Similarly, Pac-Man. Gonna put Pac-Man right here. With Namco directly working with... If Namco continues to directly work with Nintendo on Smash, Pac-Man is a mainstay. Basically. But, who knows what the future has in store. Similarly, although he's not on this yet, I could see Kazuya, but I would put him pretty far behind. Now, Konami. I think the Belmonts are in a good spot. I do not think Snake is. For the sake of your time, I'm not gonna get into the huge thing about Konami's weirdness with Metal Gear. And it seems like they're trying to do right with Metal Gear. I've heard that a new game is in the works. But compared to Castlevania, especially, Metal Gear and Silent Hill are kind of in bad spots. But Castlevania, I'd actually put Joker behind the Belmonts. Castlevania looks pretty natural next to the mainstays, but I don't know if I have as much faith in Konami as I do Namco, Sega, and Capcom. So, if Microsoft continues the same relationship it does with Nintendo, then I don't see Banjo or Steve going anywhere. Realistically speaking. Especially since both of them are pretty big. Banjo is often seen as the game that perfected the 3D platformer, while Minecraft is fucking Minecraft. So, SNK. SNK I'm going to put in the center because, to be honest, I don't really know with them. They seem super chill, but I don't know. Square. So I'm going to preface this by saying something that I don't know if many people are aware of, and that Square Enix, as we know it today, is 3 different companies with 3 different cultures that are forced to work under the same roof, so to speak, between Square, Enix, and Eidos. Enix is cool. Enix, I would put near the Belmonts. Square is weird. I would put them after Snake. I think these two are a package deal with each other. And while I'm not going to get into why I don't like these two, I think that they barely edge out Snake. However, I'm going to put it this way. With the exception of Hero, the top row are looking good. The bottom row, no. Factoring in Konami weirdness, the top row's looking pretty good, Joker. And the bottom row, not so much. Now, between the 5 bottom row characters, I think the Belmonts are leagues above the anime swordsman and the military man. But hey. Now, for shits and giggles, let's see what this looks like without the marketing. Without the marketing chapter. Corn is at the bottom. Full stop. I'd say Mithra and Pyra are next to Shulk. Byleth here. Keep the shepherds together. But, well, no. I'd say that and that. And yeah, that's about my thoughts. And like I said, with Kazuya, let's put an invisible marker between. I'm actually gonna, yeah. Let's put an for Kazuya. Let's put an invisible marker between Bayonetta and Hero. Actually, the more I look at Bayonetta, the more I'm willing to put her above the Microsoft characters. So let's put her here and invisibly slot Kazuya in where she was. And I'll probably do a footnote video to this when the final Fighter Pass character is revealed, just to sort of say where I think he is and possibly update this based on feedback I receive. And